The alarm tore through the ship before I even opened my eyes. Red lights spun across the walls of the wandering turn, and the floor shook under my boots as I ran down the narrow hallway. My name is Dale Whitmore, and 3 seconds ago I was asleep. Now I was sprinting toward the cargo bay with my heart hammering, because the egg we had locked inside a containment crate was cracking open at the worst possible moment. "Dale, get down here now," Grace shouted through my earpiece. Her voice was sharp with panic. "It's hatching, and we've got a hull breach warning on Deck 3 at the same time. I don't know which fire to put out first." I skidded into the cargo bay and saw it. The egg, deep blue with silver veins running across its shell, was shaking violently inside the crate. Cracks spread across it like lightning. Around me, the room trembled again, as something outside the ship groaned against the hull, metal straining under pressure none of us understood yet. "Forget the egg," Owen barked, gripping a support beam to stay upright. "We have bigger problems. That thing bit half the ship's power out of the emergency grid the moment it started moving. I need engineering can't hold this ship steady if we lose air." "Then go fix the ship," I said. "I'll handle this." I did not know why I said that. I did not know anything about dragons except the stories smugglers told to scare each other in space bars. But someone had to stay, and the egg was already splitting apart faster than a rescue plan could form. The shell burst open, and a small, wet, trembling creature spilled out onto the metal floor. It was no bigger than a house cat, with scales the color of a stormy night sky and eyes like polished black glass. It let out a sound, not quite a cry, not quite a screech, something raw and desperate that made my chest hurt just hearing it. The ship lurched hard to one side. Sparks burst from a wall panel behind me. Somewhere above us, Grace was yelling coordinates into the comm system, and Owen was cursing at a valve that would not close. The baby dragon looked up at me through the chaos, and it did not hesitate. It moved fast, faster than something newly born should be able to move, and climbed straight up my leg, over my shoulder, and clamped itself onto my back with tiny claws digging through my jacket. "What in the world?" I muttered, but there was no time to think about it, because the entire ship groaned again, louder this time, and a warning light above the cargo bay door turned solid red. "Dale, we've got debris incoming," Grace said, her voice tight. "Something is out there, and it is not natural. Radar cannot get a clean read on it. You need to move to the shelter pod right now." I grabbed the crate, useless now, with the shell broken inside it, and started running. The dragon on my back tightened its grip with every step, its small body trembling against my spine, tail curling around my ribs like a rope holding on for life. The corridor ahead flickered with emergency lighting. I turned a corner and nearly collided with Noah, our navigator, who was pale and out of breath. "There's something attached to the outer hull," Noah said, gripping my arm. "It's not debris. It moved on its own. I saw it on the exterior camera before it burned out." "Moved how?" I asked, my mind racing through every terrible possibility. "Like it was hunting for something," Noah said. "And I think it heard the egg hatch." That single sentence hit me harder than the shaking floor beneath us. Whatever this creature was, it had followed the egg through space, waiting for exactly this moment, and now it was crawling along the hull of our ship, searching for a newborn that had chosen my back as the only safe place in the galaxy. We reached the shelter pod, but Grace's voice cut through my earpiece again, frantic. "Belay that. Shelter's compromised. There is a crack forming near the seal. You cannot go in there. You need to get to the bridge. All of you. Right now." My stomach dropped. The safest room on the ship was no longer safe, and something outside was trying to force its way toward us, drawn by a sound none of us could hear but the dragon on my back clearly could. Its claws dug in tighter, and a low vibration rattled through its small body, something between fear and warning. We ran again, this time toward the bridge, boots pounding against trembling metal. Every few seconds the ship rocked, as if something massive was scraping along the outside, testing the hull for weakness. Lily, our engineer, met us halfway, soot smeared across her face, eyes wide with urgency. I patched the breach on deck 3, but whatever's out there just tried to force open the auxiliary hatch near engineering, she said, breathless. It knows exactly where the weak points are. This is not random. It is hunting. Hunting what? Owen asked, though the look on his face said he already suspected the answer. Lily's eyes moved to my back, to the small blue shape gripping onto me with everything it had. Hunting that. The bridge doors slid open, and we poured inside, just as the main screen flared to life with a shape none of us wanted to see. Something enormous moved along the edge of the ship's exterior lights, scaled and massive, easily 10 times the size of the tiny creature clinging to my shoulders. Its eyes glowed faintly gold in the darkness of space, locked directly on our hull. That is the mother, Grace whispered, staring at the screen. Or something like it. It laid that egg somewhere out here, and we picked it up without knowing. So it wants its child back, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. No, Lily said quietly, watching the massive shape circle slowly, patiently, like something that had done this before. Look at how it is moving. That is not searching. That is stalking. I don't think it's the mother at all. The temperature on the bridge seemed to drop. Every one of us understood what she meant, without needing it explained. Whatever laid that egg was gone. Whatever was outside our ship now was something else entirely, something that had been waiting for a hatchling to be born so it could take it, and it did not care how many humans stood in its way. The dragon on my back let out another sound, quieter this time, almost pleading. It pressed its face against the back of my neck, and I felt its whole body shaking. I'm not giving her up, I said, surprising myself with how certain I sounded. Dale, that thing outside could tear this ship apart, Owen said. We are not equipped to fight something like that. Then we don't fight it, I said, my mind racing. We outsmart it. Grace looked at me, then at the shaking dragon on my back, then back at the screen where the creature continued its slow, deliberate circle. What are you thinking? Ember doesn't need protecting from a distance, I said, the name slipping out before I even realized I had chosen it. She needs to feel safe enough to trust us for exactly one moment. If we can get her calm, maybe she can help us understand what that thing actually wants. That is a big maybe, Noah said. It's the only maybe we've got, I answered. I sat down slowly, ignoring the tremor in my own hands, and reached back to gently rest my palm against the dragon's trembling side. Hey, I said softly, I've got you. Nothing is getting through me to reach you, I promise. Her shaking slowed, bit by bit, the way a storm loses its wind before it fully passes. Her claws loosened slightly, and for the first time since she had hatched, she made a small sound that was almost calm. On the screen, the massive creature outside paused. It stopped circling. Its golden eyes turned directly toward the section of hull nearest the bridge, as if it had felt something shift. It's reacting, Lily said, stunned. Her heartbeat just slowed down, and that thing responded to it immediately. They're connected somehow, Grace said. Some kind of signal we can't detect, but it can. The creature outside lowered its massive head, and instead of striking the hull, it let out a long, low sound that vibrated through the metal walls around us. It was not aggressive. It was almost mournful. I think, Noah said slowly, it's not trying to take her. I think it's trying to say goodbye. The dragon on my back lifted her head slightly, staring toward the wall where the sound had come from, and let out a small, answering cry of her own. The creature outside lingered a moment longer, its golden eyes unreadable, before it pulled away from the hull entirely and vanished into the darkness beyond our sensors. The ship went silent. No alarms, no shaking. Just the quiet hum of the engines and the sound of 5 people breathing hard after the longest 10 minutes of our lives. She's safe, Grace said finally, her voice thick with relief. I felt the dragon's grip on my back loosen completely for the first time, not out of fear now, but out of something closer to peace. She rested her head against my shoulder and let out a long, tired breath. "I don't know what just happened," Owen admitted, sinking into his chair, "but I am not doing that again anytime soon." I laughed, a short, exhausted sound, and reached up to gently touch the small dragon curled against my back. She had lost whatever family she was born into, chased across open space by something none of us understood, and somehow, in the middle of all that chaos, she had chosen me. Not because I was strong, not because I had answers, only because when everything around her was falling apart, I had stayed. And for a creature who had almost lost everything in the first minutes of her life, that turned out to be exactly enough.